Caitlin Clark has lost her smile. You can tell she's not having fun playing basketball. I mean this when I say this. Fire Stephanie White yesterday.
It looked like the fans is sick and tired of Stephanie White and this damn motion offense.
0 times they tried to get Caitlin Clark an open look. The best looks she had yesterday were one-on-one, coming downhill, taking her defender off the dribble, just being quicker.
I can't believe y'all lied to Caitlin Clark and used her like this.
They said she was the future of the franchise. They swore there was a blueprint. They looked Caitlin Clark in the eye and told her she'd be the centerpiece.
Y'all sold her a bill of goods. This coach claimed she had been watching her for 5 years and she loved her style of play. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. This organization sold her a bullcrap bill of goods, saying that we're playing to win now.
The star of a system crafted for her brilliance, surrounded by a team built to win now. But here we are, just weeks into her rookie season, and the truth has already come crashing down, and it's far from pretty.
Especially because some of them are reactions at the time, right after the game. I mean this when I say this. Fire Stephanie White yesterday.
Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever, didn't just drop the ball, she deceived her. Worse yet, she fooled every single one of us. This isn't simply a matter of poor coaching anymore. This is a full-scale betrayal.
Caitlin Clark has been used and lied to. Y'all used her to sell all these tickets. Y'all used her to sell all this merchandise and to make all this money, and then y'all did not put the right coach or team around her.
In today's breakdown, we're revealing how Caitlin Clark was completely misled and why Stephanie White needs to be shown the door without delay.
This organization sold her a bullcrap bill of goods, saying that we're playing to win now. We're leaning into playing fast Fever basketball. And what did they do? They went and got Natasha Howard in her 19th season who can barely move. They went and got Dewana Bonner, who's in her 97th WNBA season, who's not even with the team anymore and collecting $200,000. She's not even with the team. We don't know where she is. We hope everything's okay, but we need all hands on deck as well. It'd be nice if she show up to work. I don't know what's going on. She removed all the Fever stuff from her body. I don't know what's going on. Caitlin Clark has been used and lied to. Y'all used her to sell all these tickets. Y'all used her to sell all this merchandise and to make all this money, and then y'all did not put the right coach or team around her.
From day one, Caitlin Clark was sold a dream. The Indiana Fever, and especially head coach Stephanie White, painted a vivid picture of fast, free-flowing basketball. A system that would push the pace, space the floor, and lean entirely into Clark's extraordinary playmaking skills. And Caitlin didn't just believe that dream, she invested in it.
Because the offensive system sucks, because you don't go to what works, and you run this motion offense where Caitlin Clark is iced out, running around, and she's not actually getting the ball. She's not actually going one-on-one. She's not actually running a pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston, which is not allowing Aaliyah Boston to get hot. So Aaliyah Boston isn't scoring 20 points either. It's just sucky. It sucks how this team is playing right now.
She brought her name, her brand, and her relentless energy to this franchise. But what did she get in return? A team stacked with aging vets who can't keep up, and a coach clinging to an outdated, sluggish style that looks nothing like what she was promised.
And let's take a listen to what Caitlin Clark said. And she essentially exposed that Stephanie White wants them to play slow.
I thought at times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo. We still got to
It's on me not conceding.
Play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and you know, that wasn't why we lost.
Like, she literally was like, oh, what the coach wanted us to do wasn't why we lost. I'm conceding. I was conceding by not playing fast. What is she saying? Like, this is the most damning thing I've heard Caitlin Clark say. This is the most damning thing I've heard Caitlin Clark. She didn't even say this about Christy Sides. This is damning. She's saying that she needs to stop conceding and play fast, and that doing what the coach wanted them to do was not why they lost.
The truth? It was all a mirage. They told her she'd be the engine of the offense, yet most nights she's barely involved in the game plan. They said the roster was built to compete right away, but the rotations, the strategy, the execution, nothing supports that narrative.
Ask me how many plays they set designed to get Caitlin Clark an open look. Go ahead, ask me. 2? No. 6? Good guess, but wrong. 9? No, incorrect. 0. 0 plays run to get Caitlin Clark open. They did a double drag screen. That was the phrase of the day. They did a few double drag screens, never to get Caitlin Clark open, always to get Natasha Howard into a different action off-ball screening for either Alexi Hull or Sophie Cunningham or Kelsey Mitchell, and always for Aaliyah Boston to just do her little skinny move and slip down for a layup.
Every time she steps on the floor, Caitlin Clark looks like she's fighting on two fronts, one against the opponent and another against her own bench. Every blown possession, every wasted drive, every broken play, they don't just show poor execution. They reveal a promise that was never truly meant to be honored.
0 times they tried to get Caitlin Clark an open look. The best looks she had yesterday were one-on-one, coming downhill, taking her defender off the dribble, just being quicker.
Clark was brought in as the face of the franchise, but instead of being empowered, she's being sidelined. The offense doesn't flow through her. The plays aren't built for her. The vision they sold to her and to all of us is nowhere to be seen.
Fire Stephanie White yesterday. Like, fire her yesterday. And the reason why is not that Stephanie White is a bad basketball coach. It's not that Stephanie White is a bad motivational speaker. It's not that Stephanie White has done a bad job defending her players. It's not any of that. It's that Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark fundamentally have different understandings of the sport of basketball.
Instead, what we're witnessing is a young star forced into a system that doesn't suit her, one that stifles her gifts and keeps her brilliance in check. And it's not just a coaching misstep. It's a systematic failure at every level of the organization. What makes it worse is that Caitlin isn't just a talented player.
Because the offensive system sucks, because you don't go to what works and you run this motion offense where Caitlin Clark is iced out, running around, and she's not actually getting the ball. She's not actually going one-on-one. She's not actually running a pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston, which is not allowing Aaliyah Boston to get hot. So Aaliyah Boston isn't scoring 20 points either. It's just sucky. It sucks how this team is playing right now.
She's a generational one. She thrives in movement, thrives in chaos, thrives when the game opens up. And yet this team is doing the exact opposite of what allows her to shine. It's not just disappointing, it feels like a setup, a calculated bait and switch that's forcing one of the game's brightest stars to play small in a role that should have been built to make her larger than life.
Not even different understandings. What Stephanie White wants to do is not going to work for this team. It is not going to work for this team. What Stephanie White wants to do will not work. And by the way, I'm not saying what Stephanie White wants to do is won't work in general. Won't work in general. Because it has worked. She's had success. But I'm saying what Stephanie White wants to do will not work for this team specifically.
At this point, it's obvious. Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White aren't on the same page. They're not even reading the same book. Clark thrives in a system that emphasizes tempo, ball movement, and creative freedom. The kind of flow where her court vision and deep shooting range can truly shine. But Stephanie White, she's running a completely different operation.
Nobody really is playing the role that they play best. Kelsey Mitchell is best when she's playing off ball, catch and shoot, cut back door, easy layups. She's not even doing much of that these days. She's just shooting off the dribble. Caitlin Clark is best with the ball in her hands, off a pick and roll, finding Aaliyah Boston on the short roll, or just going to work dancing at the top of the key. You're not even seeing much of that. You're seeing Caitlin Clark get the ball with 8 seconds left on the shot clock because she brought it up the court, but then gave it to Sydney Colson at the 17-second mark. Why did you give it to Sydney Colson for her to run around and then you get the ball back? What? Aaliyah Boston obviously isn't able to do what she wants to do, because to do what she wants to do, she needs to be setting a screen for Caitlin Clark. Off that screen, 2 defenders go with Caitlin. She gets open lanes, open mid-range shots. You're not even going to that for the most of the game. Like early on in this game, you had a stretch where the Indiana Fever continuously went to the Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark pick and roll. But even when they were going to it, there were plays in between where they weren't. Why is there ever a play where we're not setting a screen for Caitlin Clark by Aaliyah Boston? Why would you ever do that when it's such a cheat code?
Instead of turning Clark loose, she's forcing her into a rigid, plodding offense. Instead of speeding things up, she's dragging the team into a half-court grind. And it's not just the fans noticing. Clark herself has acknowledged the disconnect. She's openly said she's been conceding to the system, even when it clearly isn't working.
All her staff has to do is stop telling Cece to walk the ball up and everything will be fixed. But as long as they want to play a half-court game, they will keep losing, just as with sides last year. Stephanie White has been a disappointment. Exactly right, Steph. Play fast. Keep her shooting. Don't stop the momentum when they get up 10. Minus call a timeout for the rest. But don't put in your subs and lose your lead. You're hurting your own players. Clueless. I think Clark has too much respect for White, and I think she used to have too much respect for White. Caitlin Clark shows up for work every single day. Caitlin Clark shows up to work. She spends the most time in that facility, in that gym. While this player's taking off, while that player's taking off, while this coach is taking off, while that coach is taking off, while this coach is disappearing, while that coach is disappearing. Yeah, I would lose respect for my boss too.
That's not leadership. That's being silenced. What's even harder to watch is Clark trying to mold herself to fit a system that actively limits her. There's no offensive design to get her clean looks. No structure that puts her in the positions where she's most dangerous. It's like she's been stranded, left to figure everything out on her own, while carrying the weight of an entire franchise.
Caitlin Clark has lost her smile. She's lost her smile. You can tell she's not having fun playing basketball. And you can tell she was having fun playing basketball.
And the frustration is written all over her face. You can see it in the post-game interviews. You can read it in her body language on the court. You can hear it in every carefully worded response she gives to avoid throwing anyone under the bus.
0 times they tried to get Caitlin Clark an open look. The best looks she had yesterday were one-on-one, coming downhill, taking her defender off the dribble, just being quicker and finishing at the rim.
She's trying to stay respectful, but she knows this system isn't working. This is no longer just a philosophical difference. This is a complete mismatch between the player Caitlin Clark is and the player she's being asked to become. She was brought into this league with a skill set built on intelligence, speed, and the ability to create magic out of chaos.
Stephanie White takes no accountability in these post games. She makes every excuse. She'll glaze the other team, and then she is yet to say, hey, I have to be better. I have to get our players ready as a coach. I need to do this. I need to do that. She never does that. She passes the buck every single time. Stephanie White is taking no accountability for any of this in any of these post-game press conferences, and it is disgusting, and I am tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it, bro. Like, Fever fans, we've had enough. We're fed up. This is a joke. This is a joke. This is just sad. It's ridiculous. And Caitlin Clark deserves better. If you go to Europe, I'll go watch over there. I mean, this is ridiculous at this point, man. The officiating's horrible. The coach is a joke. She claims she's been watching all these years and doesn't even know how to put a system together.
She's not a system player. She is the system. That's how she dominated college basketball. That's what made her the most exciting prospect the WNBA has seen in years. And that's what Indiana was supposed to unlock. Instead, they've put her in a box and thrown away the key.
They are the worst additions you could have possibly added to this team. Players who have no interior defense, who are old and slow. Why do we add them to the team? This Fever team is not too promising, and there are times where they feel worse than last year. There were times last year where this team was 10 times more exciting than they are right now. At the end of last year, that team was 10 times better than what we see from the Indiana Fever right now. And it's a shame because, yeah, Caitlin Clark did have a bad game today, and she can have a better game, and if she does, then you can probably win some of these games.
Stephanie White's offense is stuck in the past. It's predictable, it's methodical, and worst of all, it's limiting. The results prove it. On nights when the team is getting blown out, Clark is stuck in useless motion sets that lead nowhere.
Have a high ball screen with Caitlin Clark and somebody every single possession. It was working so well in the first half. So how come we totally went away from it in the second half? Was it because of the couple turnovers Caitlin Clark got? She might have had maybe 2-3 turnovers in a stretch in the game when they were trying to go to Aaliyah Boston. So does that justify you not going to what got her 6-7 assists in the first quarter? No, it doesn't. You go to it every single possession because it works. I kept kept saying it in the live stream today, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So how come every single time the Indiana Fever have something that's working, whether it might be the pick and roll like it was in this game, whether it be running the floor like it was in this game, because early on they were faster than they were later on in this game. They always have things that are working. They always have players who are hot that they don't go to. Like Caitlin Clark might have 9 points in a 38-second stretch, and then you'll see them come out in the next quarter and not give her the basketball. You'll see them bench her. Why do we do this? When you have momentum, when you have a lead, you need to continue doing that, and that's going to win you the game. Obviously, the other team is going to adjust, but when the other team adjusts, that does not mean you totally stop attacking the flaw that the other team has on defense.
There's no pick and roll action with Aaliyah Boston. No push in transition, no urgency. Instead, we see possessions where Clark hands the ball off, drifts to the corner, and doesn't touch it again until the shot clock is nearly gone. That's not player development, that's deliberate restriction. Even more frustrating is the coaching staff's refusal to adapt.
Caitlin Clark deserves better. If you go to Europe, I'll go watch over there. I mean, this is ridiculous at this point, man. The officiating's horrible. The coach is a joke. She claims she's been watching all these years and doesn't even know how to put a system together that caters to her style of play. This organization went and got a bunch of 40-year-olds talking about we're ready to win now. Like, come on, man. This is a joke. This is a joke, man.
Clark has made her position clear. She wants to play fast. She knows what the team needs to do. She's been vocal about needing to stop conceding and needing to play with more pace. And yet the system stays exactly the same. No tweaks, no urgency, no accountability. It's like they're ignoring their own star. And while Stephanie White keeps doubling down on a broken system,
Caitlin Clark has been used and lied to. Y'all used her to sell all these tickets. Y'all used her to sell all this merchandise and to make all this money. And then y'all did not put the right coach or team around her.
Clark is the one left trying to salvage whatever she can from a scheme that's actively working against her. This isn't about learning curves or rookie struggles. This is about wasted potential. This is about one of the greatest college players ever being forced into a structure that minimizes everything she's good at. The Caitlin Clark we're watching right now isn't the player who electrified crowds and shattered records. That energy, that swagger, that control of the game, it's being drained. And make no mistake, the blame doesn't lie with Caitlin. This is a coaching decision, one that's costing the team, the fans, and the league something incredibly special.
Even through all of the nonsense, she's still leading the league in assists. She's still giving you about 20 and 9, 20 and 10, 6 rebounds, 7 she's still giving you that. Even though she was sold a bill of goods, it's sad to see what this team has done to Caitlin Clark, man. Caitlin's the victim here. Oh, she's the victim here.
At this stage, calling it a miscommunication between player and coach would be letting them off easy. What's happening doesn't feel like a misunderstanding. It feels deliberate. Caitlin Clark isn't just being underused. She's being set up to fail. A player of her caliber doesn't suddenly look out of rhythm unless the system around her is broken, and maybe even intentionally so. When you really examine the choices being made, the outdated offensive sets, the bizarre substitutions, the lack of adjustment, it's hard not to question if this is more than just poor coaching. It feels like sabotage wearing the mask of strategy.
It sucks how this team is playing right now. Nobody really is playing the role that they play best. Kelsey Mitchell is best when she's playing off ball, catch and shoot, cut back door, easy layups. She's not even doing much of that these days. She's just shooting off the dribble.
Just take a look at who she's been surrounded with. Aging veterans who are well past their prime, role players who aren't even sure what their role is, bench pieces who would struggle to make another roster in this league. This isn't a group ready to win now. It's a patchwork roster thrown together without any regard for fit or synergy. These aren't support pieces built around a generational talent. They're anchors dragging her down. It's not that Caitlin Clark lacks leadership. It's that she was never given a real team to lead. Even when things seem to click, the system shuts it down. Clark runs a sharp pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston.
And I hope that something changes. But unless something changes, the Fever need to make a decision. They need to make a couple of decisions. They need to bench Caitlin Clark. They need to choose. First of all, they need to choose Stephanie White or Caitlin Clark.
It disappears the next trip down the court. She starts to catch fire and build momentum. She's benched. Every spark, every sign of life is extinguished before it can catch. And just when you think the team is turning a corner, playing fast, moving the ball, looking dangerous, the brakes are slammed again. The old game plan comes roaring back, and everything stalls out. It's a pattern, a frustrating, destructive pattern that's not just hurting their record, it's chipping away at Clark's belief in the system.
At some point, you just say, man, maybe we need to move on because all of this unluckiness, I can't tolerate it being the HBIC, as New York would say, for the 90s babies. You guys know what I'm talking about.
What makes this even harder to watch is that Clark is still giving it everything. She hasn't checked out. She hasn't quit. She's still fighting, creating opportunities, finding open teammates, racking up assists, and putting her body on the line. She's doing her job with professionalism, focus, and heart. But the question is, how long can she keep doing that when the people calling the shots are making her job harder with every decision? How long before that effort turns into exhaustion? How long before she stops believing this is fixable? This goes beyond chemistry issues or rookie struggles. This is the slow, painful dismantling of everything Caitlin Clark was supposed to bring to the WNBA. Her creativity, her flair, her leadership, her impact. All of it is being suffocated by a system that doesn't just fail to support her, it actively works against her. And if the Fever can't recognize the damage that's being done, then maybe they don't deserve to have her at all.
Caitlin Clark has lost her smile. She's lost her smile. You can tell she's not having fun playing basketball. And you can tell she was having fun playing basketball.
0 times they tried to get Caitlin Clark an open look. The best looks she had yesterday were one-on-one, coming downhill, taking her defender off the dribble, just being quicker and finishing at the rim.
Caitlin Clark deserved a system tailored to her brilliance. She deserved a coach who understood her strengths, trusted her instincts, and built an offense to amplify everything she brings to the game. Instead, she was misled, handed a broken system, surrounded by the wrong pieces, and expected to carry a franchise that refuses to meet her halfway. Stephanie White didn't just make a few bad calls. She made decisions that actively hurt her star player and derailed the team's future. This isn't a rookie learning curve. It's a disaster unfolding in real time. If the Indiana Fever truly care about fixing this, they need to act now. Because the longer this coaching staff stays in place, the deeper the damage goes. This team cannot afford to keep wasting Caitlin Clark's talent while her prime is just beginning. It's time for accountability. It's time for leadership. And more than anything, it's time to stop sabotaging the very player they promised to build around. But what do you think? Was Caitlin Clark set up from the start? Should Stephanie White be removed before things get even worse? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from real fans like you. And if you want more no-filter breakdowns like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started, and we won't stop until the truth is heard.